Hello, I'm MacLeod, and since it's Halloween, I'm going to be counting down my top 10 favorite horror games. I'm also giving away some great horror games in Soma, Resident Evil 4, and Lone Survivor. If you'd like more details on that, please click the annotation or the card for a video that will explain how to do that. Or you can check the description of this video for instructions. First, let's do a rundown of the games that didn't quite make this list. Half-Life 2. Some of you are probably rolling your eyes that this is here, but this game is creepy as hell. I don't just mean Ravenholm. The egg crab zombies scream horrible stuff. You just need to take the audio and reverse it if you don't know what I mean. And sometimes they even catch on fire and it just gets worse. Here, I'll give you an example. God, help me! The Half-Life 2 world as a whole is a horror show. Alien life forms are everywhere, like the oceans filled with worm-type creatures, the barnacles that try to suck up passers-by, and all the egg crabs. The Combine are using shells filled with egg crabs to terrorize the population. That's why there are so many egg crabs around. The Combine are in the process of strip mining everything they get their hands on. It doesn't stop there, though. They're also augmenting people and turning them into cyborgs. The people who resist get turned into these chaps, called stalkers. Massive Asylum from Outlast was horrific, and it went into exquisite detail to show you just how horrific it is. You wouldn't have to pull back the covers very far before I bet you found horrors that rivaled Mount Massive in City 17 and in Half-Life 2. Left 4 Dead, and in particular I mean Left 4 Dead 2, which I played much more of. So this isn't a scare you out of your wits horror game. It's more of an action movie with zombies, and each campaign is even framed as a movie poster while you're waiting for the game to load. So this is one of my runners-up because it's a good game to play with friends. It's a lot of fun. But when you're playing with friends on harder difficulties, it starts bringing to mind movies like 28 Days Later. You get pinned down and zombies are swarming in from everywhere. You've seen the 28 Days Later movie, I think you know what I mean. The other thing is, a few levels you'll be running through an overrun quarantine zone, and that kind of sends chills down my spine. It makes me remember a couple years ago when I was standing in line for H1N1 shot. And just think about, imagine, you're standing in line, you know bad stuff is happening, and then even worse things start to go down. You'll be too busy killing zombies most of the time and running around to notice the small details, but Left 4 Dead games have some pretty good world building going on, strewn throughout the levels, and I really appreciate that attention to detail. Thief 1 and 2. This is Thief from 1998 I'm talking about, and its sequel from a few years later, and not the new game, which I have actually played. The Thief world is very dark and sinister, and there are plenty of machinations going on in the background. As a thief whose primary concern is breaking in and stealing things, you try and keep in the shadows, and you're no match for face-to-face confrontations. Sometimes you'll be sent into someone's house to rob it, but most of the time you'll be sent to horrible places, like this horrible jail. Awful, horrible jail. And haunted church. A quarantine part of town, and there are zombies, ghosts, and plenty of ambient audio to keep you skittish. Thief 2 ups the ante with Shellbridge Cradle, which is probably the scariest level from either game. Thief is a little old and clunky now, isn't the best looking game exactly, but it's definitely worth checking out if you think this sounds interesting. It's a great game in its own right. Number 10. So now on to my list for number 10. Stasis. Stasis came out pretty recently, and is an odd little sci-fi or adventure game that seemed to pop out of nowhere for me. I love adventure games, and I love sci-fi, and adding horror to the mix made it very easy for me to like it. In Stasis, your character, John, wakes up on a vessel called the Groom's Wake, where things have gone very wrong. Bodies and blood everywhere, and you soon learn of weird medical experiments, abductions, and cloning. It gets even worse from there. It's an adventure game, so you play high above perspective, but the visuals are quite good, and the horrifying things that really do look horrifying. Stasis is also well written, and you'll be reading dozens of logs from dead crew members and a description of items around the ship. It really adds to the atmosphere. The game is a little rougher on the edges with regard to some animations and some voice work. It also has a ton of reading to the point where it starts looking like a visual novel, with pages of text at a time. Not necessarily a flaw, but it depends on how you feel about reading long sections of text. These are easily passed over, but you'll miss backstory and clues to solving some of the more obscure puzzles. Overall, Stasis is quite fun and charming. Well, if you can call a game about horrible biological experiments and blood everywhere a charming game. I don't recommend it for everyone, but it is definitely worth checking out if this at all sounds interesting to you. Tune in every day until Halloween for more of my top 10 and more chances to win the $20 Steam wallet code giveaway. So what do you think of Stasis or any of the games on display today? I'd love to hear from you. Any thoughts, comments, or questions? Leave it in the comments. And I hope to see you back tomorrow for more of my top 10. See you later.